Hi Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your September 2021 Mercury Retrograde. There we go, Mercury Retrograde reading for you. Now, I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's let the bowls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. How will Sagittarius be affected by the September 2021 Mercury Retrograde? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. At the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the cards have to say. At a root, we have the Devil, which is Capricorn energy. If we're born on the cusp with Capricorn, or we have Capricorn within our natal chart, that's going to be coming through very powerfully at our root. And then we have the Mystic, which is the High Priestess. There is just this beautiful sense of not being fooled anymore by lies, deceit, hurts, pains, disappointments. It's really looking at the negativity that comes up in Mercury retrograde, because when things go in retrograde, it makes us see kind of the seedier underbelly of things. And we're looking and we're seeing things as they are, not the way we want them to be, but as they are. And there's this cleansing, there's this steadiness in its honesty. It moves us then to our inner selves. And then we have the messenger of water sign energy, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer. So if we're born on the cusp with Scorpio, that's going to be coming through very powerfully in our inner self. Or if we have water sign energy within our natal chart, it's bringing us messages. There's a sense of being led forward. And then we have the Witch of Earth, which is amplifying the Capricorn energy in the Devil, but it's also Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Again, if we have this within our natal chart, coming through in our inner self. There's a sense of magic by connecting with the earth. And what's so powerful is that if we start connecting with the energy vibration of things, if we start being aware that our world is energy, that we are all interconnected, that there is power and beauty in the understanding of not only one another as human beings, but also in the beautiful what word am I trying to say? The beautiful interconnectedness, there we go, we'll go with that one, of our world and our earth and plants and animals and everything like that. That starts to become beautiful. That starts to become beautiful and centering and peaceful and just absolutely extraordinary. And I do see that magic coming forward here. Then we have the Nine of of Cups reverse, and we have the Four of Swords reverse. So we're not going to be getting the rest that we need emotionally. We're going to need to kind of take a time out and say, okay, I need to rest. I need to step back. We're not going to want to. We're going to think, sleep is for the weak. We'll see ourselves saying things like that, like, oh, I'll sleep when I'm dead, and that type of thing. No, make sure you get sleep. Make sure you take care of yourself. This is, this is for everybody. Like that's just going to be so important. And also to honor what we've been through. There's going to be this sense here, Sagittarius, that like I just have to keep on plowing forward. Nothing matters except for what I am achieving at this moment in this instance. And that's just not going to be true. So much matters. There's a blessing around us. We're not ready for that at this time. And I don't know exactly why that is. I think we're too aligned during this time is with what we want to have come forward, like the way that we want things to be instead of the way things actually are. And so connecting again with that earth energy, connecting even with the water energy is going to be so powerful, so beneficial for us that it really helps us embrace success and embrace beauty. And then leads us to our public self. We have the Ten of Cups, and they all live happily ever after. And we have the moon, which is Pisces energy. There is a sense that the energy of the full moon, which I have a video of that, will be highly impactful during this time for you, Sagittarius. There's also a sense of Pisces energy if you have Pisces within your chart, comes through very powerfully in the public arena. There's a bit of a hesitance, and it can be in thinking that I'm not able to live my dreams. I'm not able to have the success that other people have. Like that's for you, but that's not for me. And that's what we're going to see ourselves constantly battling against during this time, Sagittarius. Now, let's look at the energy that we need to be mindful of. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. And that's the Prince of Pentacles. Now, it can be that we need to really release the saying, money talks, everything else walks. We're going to be putting too much of an emphasis on what can be achieved through, and it sounds so odd to say, but hard work and diligence and everything like that. We're going to put too much on that. We're going to say, this is what you need to do. If you need to work 70-hour, 80-hour weeks, that's just what's going to need to be done. You don't rest, you don't get to take care of yourself. And that's going to be very toxic for us, especially during this Mercury retrograde, when things get frustrating, when tempers are a bit short, but also just in general. We have to be kinder to ourselves during this time. We also need to understand that people aren't going to be as upfront and honest with us when it comes to money, meaning that there could be secrets around contracts. We might find that things aren't being handled properly. Watch out for people borrowing. Like, they won't say it's stealing. They'll be like, well, I was just borrowing it, I'll give it back, type of thing. Just be mindful of that during this time, because we're going to be very attracted to people who are hardworking and diligent and everything like that. But there are also going to be people that are in that group that are sneaks and liars. And this is a time where we need to be mindful of being taken advantage of, because we're so focused on one goal that we're going to let something else kind of slip through our fingertips because we're too busy looking in one direction. Then we have our chakra energy, angels. Oh, goodness. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Grounding. Now, this is the Earth Star chakra located 6 inches below our feet. The grounding here is, again, our connection with the earth, is this sense of, am I grounding? Am I stabilizing myself? Am I connecting properly with the energy and the power and the purpose around me? What am I feeding myself with? That's also going to be really important. What am I nourishing myself with? When we plant a plant, we have to make sure that it's planted in correct soil. Mother Nature is so wise that different soils, different temperatures, different climates have different plants. So we're going to be needing to understand, am I feeding what I need correctly at this time? And it might have been that we've gone through this change of seasons within ourselves, and we need different nutrients. We need different feeding, different connections. And that's going to be really important. Now, let's talk about this Mercury retrograde, because it's unlike any other Mercury retrograde. It is a more positive Mercury retrograde and also a more intense Mercury retrograde. So there's beautiful aspects to it, and yet we're forced to look at the ugly underbelly of things. Let's talk about Mercury retrograde in and of itself. Mercury retrograde brings breakdowns. It could be breakdowns emotionally, it could be breakdowns personally, it could be breakdowns of technology. It brings things kind of falling apart because things aren't connecting the way that they should or the way that they usually do. This also brings nervousness, anxiety, travel delays. It can bring the sense of I'm always running late, I can never be on time, the directions don't come out right, we think we've planned ahead enough, and then there's an accident or there's some sort of delay, one thing or another, and then we tend to lose things. So it can be very stressful. Keeping ourselves in a higher energy vibration, keeping ourselves more positive, more grounded, more connected, that's going to be so important. Now, Mercury retrograde usually happens 3 to 4 times a year. This year it's happening 3 times. This is our last Mercury retrograde, which is awesome. And they usually last about 24 days. Now, we can find ourselves dwelling on things during this time, being a little bit obsessive, and also really gravitating towards the past. Do I see that coming up as much during this time? Because we're not resting, yes, it can be, but there's a sense of being really focused, hyper-focused on the present and actually the future. So even though Mercury retrograde brings us to be more inclined to look towards the past, Sagittarius, you're taking it one step further. You're being uniquely and powerfully you, and now you're going to really dwell on looking towards the future. So do be mindful of that. We can't be comparing ourselves to the past and comparing ourselves to what we would like to do and the dreams and the goals that we had. This is a time where we have to say, you know what? I had these dreams, I had these goals, but this is my life right now, and I need to honor and accept me. Double check all your emails, all your posts, everything you send out in the mail, in the post, before sending it, okay? Double check it. If you can, let it sit on the side of your desk, and then look at it the next day or a few days later before sending anything out, just to come to things with fresh eyes. Make sure our emotions aren't responding to things. Make sure our annoyance or aggravation isn't responding to things. If you can avoid signing contracts, if you can avoid starting something big, do so. If you can't, if you feel drawn to it, if you have to do it now, do so mindfully, carefully, and steadily. The shadow period of Mercury retrograde, the first shadow period, began on the 6th of September. What this means is that something related to Mercury, which is like everything, okay, you've seen something come up that has taken your attention, you've worried about it, you've looked at it. It's come up in the shadow period, which is starts on the 6th of September and goes all the way to the beginning of Mercury retrograde, which is on the 27th of September. So again, something about thinking, speaking, connecting, conversations, connecting with people, contracts, travel. Something has come up. You're going to see it come to a head during this Mercury retrograde. It's everything, so it's not as clear or precise as we would like it to be, but just be mindful of this. And it's going to be something that played a pretty big role, or that you spent a considerable amount of time thinking about or pondering or gaining an understanding of. Now, I'm not going to go into the planetary alignment. Why? Because I don't want this video to be so long that it is, just overly exhausting with information. A lot of information has already come your way and will continue to be coming your way. You can check out the full moon readings done for September that were put out at the very beginning. They have the planetary alignment. So if you want to check that out, do so. They'll be linked if I remember, but I never remember my readings after I do them. So sometimes I forget what I say I'm going to do, but also you can easily find them. They're the last group of readings posted on my channel. So Mercury is going to be conjunct. What we're going to do now is talk about the stars. Conjunct the fixed star Arcturus. Now, Arcturus is about obtaining justice through power. Obtaining, this greater understanding through power. It brings riches, it brings esteem, it brings determination, it brings us aligned with greatness. And that's also what this Mercury retrograde is bringing forward. It's aligning us with greatness, and it's making us see things, understand things in a way that maybe we're not usually comfortable with. This can also promote lasting success if we stay positive in our energy vibration. I cannot stress that enough. If we do Epsom salts to cleanse away negative energy, like Epsom salt bath or just even a foot soak, if we walk barefoot outside or in barefoot shoes to connect with the energy of the earth, if we, make sure that we're eating right, we're sleeping right, that's going to be really, really important. Because if we don't, during this time with Mercury, with Mercury being conjunct the fixed star Arcturus, we can feel overwhelmed. This can just bring us to feel overwhelmed. I'm not succeeding. I'm not achieving the way that I should be. Justice isn't coming. The power, I still need to obtain it. And we start to worry. We start to become really intense. Now we have Mercury conjunct the fixed star Spica. The fixed star Spica is all about bringing us success and renown and riches and fame and just niceness, like making us really nice, connected people. But remember, this is all going to be relative. So it depends on where a person is in their journey, their normal natural temperament. Nice people will be even nicer. Grouchy, curmudgeon-y people will be a little bit nicer, but you might not even be able to notice. So do be mindful of that. And richness and fame, people might not be rolling out the red carpet, but there's a sense of connecting with people in a way that we don't usually. We have to be mindful of the underhanded element of the Mercury retrograde, where our words might not be coming out the same, our intentions might not be read the way that we want them to be, but there's a sense of real beautiful connection here. This also brings love of the arts and of science, but we have to be mindful. So we have to be mindful because for those of us who have a nicer, maybe more naive or innocent approach to life, move forward with kindness first as their guide or their beacon, this can make things hard because Spica is all about aligning ourselves with power. And people who align themselves with power, or powerful people, aren't the nicest. Like, nobody gets renowned for their kind, compassionate ways when they are this powerful, influential, successful, famous, renowned person. I mean, maybe if they are renowned for their philanthropy, but again, or for not even their philanthropy, but for their selflessness. But that's a very certain type of person. So that's a bit complicated. This star also brings us an above average sense of intuition and psychic ability. If we are trying to advance our intuition or psychic ability, this is the time to go after it. This is the time to connect with the tarot or with meditation or with, the runes or whatever it is that we want. This is the time to go for it. Also, if we just want to be a little bit more precise, Mercury retrograde, though we might find it a little bit hard to communicate what we want to say and to have things move forward the way that we want them to, this is going to be a time where we're a bit more connected and on point. This is a great time for scientists, for writers, for artists, for anybody who is about breaking down barriers, who is about, ingenuity and connecting through discovery. Now, Mercury is going to be stationary direct, which is the second shadow period on the beginning on October 18th, which is when Mercury retrograde ends, and lasting to November 2nd. So the planetary alignment during this time is Mercury sextile Venus, which brings us this charming, beautiful, soothing energy that makes it a really good time to follow our hearts, to follow love in a public arena. The Ten of Cups comes through. Love, joy, happiness, just following that and not letting fear take over would be immaculate. Now, it is time to follow peace. It is time to settle down roots and to say they are planted by love. They are planted by what I desire. And that's with the Earth Star Chakra. There can be this real connection to the Earth Star Chakra, meditation, practices around the Earth Star Chakra during Mercury retrograde that really helps us step into that power at the time of Mercury stationary direct, which would be a really great idea if we just kind of meditate and contemplate around the grounding aspect of the Earth Star Chakra. Mercury is going to be trine Saturn, which brings us determination and achievement, and all of a sudden we can get done things that we've been putting off, or projects that we couldn't see the answers to. Now we start to see them, which is awesome. Our star alignment is going to be Mercury conjunct the fixed star Vindamatrix. Now, Vindamatrix is a tricky star, and if we don't come to this with a positive energy vibration, it's going to take complete advantage of us, and it can make us feel melancholy, hasty, and impulsive, because we're just going to think, well, something is better than nothing. I'm just going to go for it. We're not going to really think things through. Also, we can be very drawn to the more macabre, the darker, the more sinister aspect of life. And we have to be mindful of that. If we see ourselves being drawn to true crime or to horror or really intense and violent murder mysteries, not cozy murder mysteries, but really intense murder mysteries, we have to step back and we have to kind of do an intervention on ourselves to say, no, this isn't good. This is bringing me down. Just by the nature of them, they automatically bring our energy vibration down. So no matter how curious we are about them, I love true crime sometimes. I did when I was younger. I was getting into it now. But then I saw my energy vibration just lowering and lowering and lowering. And I thought, oh, this is really bad. I have to step back. Because it was putting cruelty into my head that I couldn't personally ever imagine. So we have to be mindful of this and just aware of our beings. Now, Mercury is going to be conjunct the fixed star Parima. Now, Parima is really, really cool, especially since we have the High Priestess here. Parima, if we keep our energy vibration high, gives us this sense of understanding and seeing the underhanded side of people without being drawn into it. It's kind of like, I see the cheats, I see the liars, I see the people that I shouldn't truly trust. Now, if we keep a high energy vibration, we're great. We have no need to worry. If we don't, Okay, this is going to bring us to obsessive worrying. This is going to bring us to a place of thinking that no matter how hard I work, no matter how much I do, I will always fall behind. I will never get to where it is that I want to be, because our emotional self can be super stressed out during this time. We're going to have a proclivity towards this intention. That's why I cannot stress enough for you, Sagittarius, that keeping a high energy vibration will be one of the best things that you can do for yourself, because it really does bless you. It really does move you forward. Now, the devil comes into play. The devil is in the details, yes, but the devil during this time is going to be the way that we connect with what we want and what we desire. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, it is, two people chained to the devil, being able to release those chains, yes, but not being able to do so. It's our addictions, it's our coping mechanisms that we developed when we were younger that weren't healthy and aren't good for us. It is the hurt and the pain and the doubt and the deceit and the anger. It's living for the expectations of somebody else, or it's living to prove to others that we can be successful, where that success isn't in alignment with what our spirit wants, with why we were, put on this earth, with who we want to be. The devil comes into play, and it makes us see this. Because it is part of our root, we're also going to be very much connected with the earthly plane. In a very positive sense, Capricorn is connected with the earthly plane openly, prosperously, and determinedly. If we kind of keep lists of things, if we keep ourselves well organized, if we look and say, okay, this is what I need, this is how I need to go about doing it, this is what I want, this is how I have to go about, wanting it, achieving it, we can really start to see ourselves accelerating. We can really start to see ourselves, making tremendous headway, and also feeling more connected with who we are and why we're here. Then we have the mystic. The mystic comes into play and says, I see beyond the veil. I see beyond what people want me to see. I see beyond what people expect me to see. I see myself. I see others. I see. And we're going to be saying that a lot. Like, we're going to be saying, oh, I see. Oh, I understand. It's like, oh, that's being revealed, and that's being revealed. And layers are being revealed openly, honestly, intensely, powerfully, beautifully, and personally for us. The door is opened. We are walking through it. The High Priestess is also telling us nothing is going to be quite as it seems. People always wear their masks. This is going to be a time where we're very much aware of the masks that people wear. And we can even start to become aware of why they wear them, of why they're deceiving themselves, and why we wore them, and why we were deceiving ourselves. We have messages coming through the water, meaning that if we embrace our emotions inwardly, we're going to find that the world opens up to us in a way that we just didn't think it could. We dive deeper and deeper and deeper into what we love, into what we desire, into what we want, into what we need, into who we are. And as we do this, as these messages come, as our heart leads us in a direction we didn't even know we wanted to take, it leads us to inspiration from the most unlikely of places. It moves us to the witch of the earth. It moves us to being able to be connected and grounded in the power of the earth, in the power of the here, and in the power of the now, in the power of the presence of thoughts and speech and desires and wants and needs. And so we start to become aware of who we are, where we stand, not for the future, not in the past, but where we stand right now. Now, if we can keep ourselves aligned with that and see the beauty and the power and the intelligence of our connection with the earth and what we want from our lives, we can start to see ourselves as being blessed. But there is a sense here of us looking at things and having a tendency emotionally, because that's how we're processing everything at this time, emotionally, to think everything's just falling apart. It's not moving the way that I want it to. The anxiousness, the nervousness, the things breaking down, us breaking down, that's coming because we're not seeing our blessings. And we can almost see sometimes everything that we worked for that was broken, shattered, scattered, becoming all that ever was. There can be resentment that comes up. And for a lot of us, that resentment is well due. We're not being petty or malicious. We're just saying, why did this have to happen? But the fact of the matter is, we cannot walk and change the past. We can't. It is what happened, and it is what defines us as part of our history. And so it's looking at things and it's claiming our history. It's claiming who we are. It's taking the power away from anybody else who thought that they could claim it, anybody else who thought that they could hurt us enough to shatter our success and our bounty and our beauty. And then we start to see the beautiful aspect of ourselves. We start to see the water filling back up into the cups. We start to see ourselves rotating, changing, and embracing beauty, insights, and ideas. People will be able to see this in us before we ourselves are able to see it, because there is a heightened sensitivity here, Sagittarius, and because we are thinkers and spend a lot of time in our minds, we can tend to to think that they're just making something up. We can tend to think that there's no validity to what they are saying or the knowledge that they're bringing forward, and to doubt it and to doubt ourselves. Be mindful of that. Don't sabotage you. The Four of Swords reverse. We're not sleeping. We're not taking care of ourselves. We're not looking at the history, the legacy that we have and honoring it. We will honor a friend's story, but during this time we will not honor our own. And that's going to be something that's very troublesome. A Sagittarius has to honor the stories, has to honor the history, the words, the wisdom, the connection, the gravitas to it, or else they feel disconnected. To feel disconnected from yourself is not where a Sagittarius wants to be. So here we need to honor the path that we have been through. We will also start to see that as we honor the path that we have been through, as we honor the knowledge that we have obtained, we'll start to see a lot of nightmares fall away, a lot of doubts, a lot of fears, a lot of kind of running away from your own shadow aspects to ourselves falling away, and then we start to awaken. The Ten of Cups is a blessing. The Ten of Cups is harmony and joyfulness and a sense of love and respect and beauty coming forward. The Ten of Cups is a completion of a cycle emotionally. And it's very much understanding what we dream for, or why we dream. This isn't necessarily talking about the dreams that we have at night, but this is talking about our dream of happiness, our dream of connection, our dream of love, our dream of beauty, our dream of whatever. And so when the Ten of Cups comes, it also lets us know that we define things in rather broadly speaking terms. We define things as, I want to be happy, I want to be successful, I want to be, comfortable, I want to be whatever, I want to live in my dream house, or, wherever it is that we want to be. And we tend to think that people will understand what that means for us. And we tend to also, as we grow, get confused, because if I want this thing, like, a happy family or a happy life, then happiness means this, because this is what, advertisement tells me. This is what people say. But we have to look at what happiness means for us, what, contentment and stability and security means for us. So it's not living for anybody else, but it's embracing and embodying the success for us as individuals, for empowerment, for beauty, for the gracious understanding of who we are and where we want to be. We start to love us. We start to embrace the joyful complexity and beauty of who we are. And it leads us to the moon. It leads us to facing a lot of fears, but also to seeing something beautiful within the darkness. In the softer light of the moon, we start to understand our dreams and our desires and the complexity of the individual and the power of our voice and of ourselves and where we want to be and what we want to develop and why. And that becomes everything. That becomes intensely beautiful for us. The subconscious and the conscious come together. The fears are seen, and also there's a sense of gaining confidence through this powerful understanding of what we want, of joy, of raising our serotonin levels, and that lets us stand tall, that lets us put our shoulders back, hold our head up high. Now, our subconscious energy to be mindful of is the Death card. We have to be mindful of Scorpio energy. We have to be mindful of being a bit macabre during this time. If we're born on the cusp with Scorpio, we can embrace like secrets and hidden things so much more to the deficit of ourselves. So do be mindful of this. We need to be mindful of secrets. We need to be mindful of not sharing things with, that would be secrets, but not sharing things with others, because either we feel overwhelmed by it or we feel like it's nobody's business, but we know it's kind of eating ourselves up inside. So even if we need to talk to a professional, that's going to be really important to sit there and say, I talked to somebody who is like legally binded not to share this with anybody, but I can release what's held within me, like any shames or hurts or doubts or fears that we have that might not actually be a big deal, but weigh heavily on our heart and on our soul. This isn't a time to walk in darkness, though we do have a tendency towards that during this time, Sagittarius. So we have to be very mindful not to let it take over. Our subconscious chakra energy is communication. This is the third chakra. We are going to need to communicate with ourselves, with others. Talking is going to be very important. It is frustrating with Mercury Retrograde because talking gets muddled up. We have to power through it. We have to sit there and maybe get a bit annoyed at each other and get crabby and snippy and be okay with that. And then find the ground again, find the understanding and the beauty and that, harmonious communication. We're also going to be reading a lot into things. We're going to be reading people's body languages and the energy that they're bringing and everything like that. So we need to know that we're picking up on a lot more than maybe even this person tends to bring to or wants to bring to the table. Our subconscious rooted message is the Chariot. Now this is Cancer energy. This is moving forward with fierceness and ferocity to what we love and what we desire. Our heart is going to be very important for us because there's a lot of pain that we're holding there, and there's a lot of things that we're not communicating with ourselves and not opening up the door for. So as we embrace what we love, as we embrace who we are, as we embrace our insights and ideas and desires, we start to see ourselves more and more and more. There's this coming together of the subconscious and the conscious. There is this sense of, I am more than I expected. I am, as powerful as anybody. And so I can embrace my heart, my desires, my soul, myself, and let it lead with powerful determination. Our subconscious inner self is the Priestess. Now, the Priestess is the sun in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. This is a sense of embracing the power of the moon. This is a sense of embracing the power of the sun. This is a sense of just happiness, joy, success, prosperity, of falling into alignment of who we are and why we are, and not being apologetic about it. I don't know about you, but like up until recently and even now, my go-to thing if I accidentally bumped into something or thought I did something wrong was to immediately apologize. Well, maybe we don't apologize quite so much. It's not being rude or inconsiderate or harsh or cruel, but it's not taking everything as our fault. It's letting the sun shine through. It's letting ourselves know that people will take us by eyes because there seems to be a blessing around us. Because of our emotional sensitivity here, we have to be mindful that we don't take their perception of us is that we're powerful. Okay, our perception of us is that we still have to work on it. So we have to understand the way that they're seeing us and the way that we're seeing us, and that the two don't necessarily add up. The Priestess here is embracing her path, her stance, and why she's on this earth with openness, honesty, and integrity, and that's what we need to do. It then leads us to our subconscious inner self, and that's us, Temperance. That's Sagittarius in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Well, in the decks altogether, we're represented by Temperance. And so here the very essence of ourselves comes forward. If we let ourselves rest, if we take honor in ourselves, subconsciously, we want to rejoice in who we are. We want to embrace the very essence of our being. Let's make sure we do so during this time. Or let's make sure we do so, period. Not just during this Mercury retrograde or, when the stars properly align, but every single day of our lives, celebrating our existence. The fact that there is another day, the fact that there is beauty in this world, the fact that, we can powerfully change our own existences. It's hard work and discipline and dedication and enduring disappointment, yes, but that there is beauty here and that we get to be a part of it. And it moves us to our public arena self, and that's the world. The world is motivation. The world is opening up to us. We're seeing ourselves move forward in a way that we hadn't. We thought that the doors were closed, and now they're starting to open. Now they're opening. And not only that, but we're finding that we stand in the world so differently than we stood in it before. The world opens and we say, but this is me. This is my place, and this is my space, and this is what I want, and this is what I desire, and this is who I am. I embrace my voice. I'm stopping apologizing. I'm stopping the meekness. I am embracing the ferocity of insight and beauty and brilliance that is me. All right, Sagittarius. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power and the complexity of this Mercury retrograde. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Sagittarius, and may you have a blessed Mercury retrograde.